Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I haven't made a video for a few days. I've been busy at work and Call of Duty's been pretty fun. I get home from work and it's calling me over like, come over here boy. So today we're looking at Commander Torbran, Thane of the Red Fells. And of course I had to make a joke about Torbran. Similar name, guy of small height, it's there. So Torbran, or Torbran, I'm probably going to mess it up this video. 4 mana, 2/4, mono red. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent that opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2. Now this is an effect we have seen before, just additional damage for a certain colour, but normally it's +1 and it's often a high cost to set it up. But Torbran brings +2 damage to all your red sources at him being a 4 mana. In theory he's also a 4/4 because he's 2/4 but he hits for 4 with his own effect. And with it it's oddly efficient. In Commander, mono red, it's a weird thing, it's a laughing stock, it's got the curse to it. But he makes the most jankiest cards oddly efficient, giving everything +2 damage. So let's go through it. So first up, Helm of the Host. In a commander like this, where having multiple copies of your commander only stacks up the damage, gets out of control pretty quickly. But there's plenty of other creatures in the deck that Helm of the Host is really good for, but always broken card. Now because we are mono red, there are some free wins here. Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon are finally kind of cheap cards now, $5 and $15 each. I remember when Blood Moons on their own used to be $30, but when you drop one of these, you could probably win a game on its own sometimes. I've done it a few times. We are full basic land base. Then we have the Flame Fusillade, actually a really nutty card which can sometimes just net you a free win. For 4 mana, sorcery, until end of turn, all your permanents gain tap this opponent deals 1 damage to the target creature or player. With your commander, everything has a lightning bolt built in. If you have enough permanents, just bolt your opponent down. Board wipe them, destroy everything they own. It's amazing. It can win a game on its own, and we do have a good token sub theme, which works well with it. So into the punishment, it's kind of like mono red taxing nearly. There are some great enchantments or permanents that really punish. So Pyrohemia, it's a very well known commander card. It's a 4 mana enchantment, but you pay 1 to deal 1 damage to everything, each creature and each player. But with your commander, you will take 1 damage and your creatures take 1 damage. But with your commander, your opponent's stuff is taking 3 damage. 1 mana to anger the gods their board. Constantly. It's that good. Leyline of Combustion is ultimate protection in this deck. We can play it for free if it's an opening hand, but if your opponent targets any of our stuff with a spell or ability, they take 2 damage, or with your commander, 4 damage. That means if they want to deal with our stuff, they might cop 4 damage to the face, just lean across the table and slap them. God of the Forge, Porphyros, works great with our token sub thing we've got here, and just general creatures. Each creature entering the battlefield, 4 damage to each opponent. Again, you can run away with the game, and if set up, he can be win conditioned on his own. I love playing with Burning Earth and Mana Barbs, they're great cards. So whenever a player taps a non-basic, they take a damage, or if a player taps any land for mana, they take damage. We will take damage, not as much as our opponent, not nearly as much, but if our opponent taps a non-basic, or if we've got Mana Barbs without any land, they're copying lightning bolts for using their lands. And because we're on a bit of a land hate theme there, Ruination, because we're a pretty mono-basic set. Fine by us. We've only got 4 non-basics in this deck. We'll be fine with it. And some really interesting ones that allow a bit of like a stacking, alternating effect. Repercussions. It's a 3 mana red enchantment from Urza's days. Ooh. Whenever a creature's dealt damage, Repercussions deal that much damage to that creature's controller. So let's your commander's effect stack twice through a creature into the player. So let's say you hit the creature for 1 damage. It actually takes 3 damage, but because that creature took 3 damage, gets to hit your opponent now. But then it does an extra 2 damage on top of that. Really cool effect. Then we've got some random ones here. We've got the little Frostodons to stop our opponent's gaining life and punish any token generators. But be careful, you don't want to do that with your Goblin plan. We've got the Vortex here just to stop life gain as well, and just constant damage. And then we've got the Spell Shock, which shot up in price thanks to his commander. It was like a 50-cent jank rare, now it's sitting about $4 right now. Whenever a player plays any spell, they take 2 damage. With our commander out there, copping 4 damage across the face. Right, into the general creatures, or I like to call the clapback. You've got the Harsh Mentor. Whenever an opponent activates pretty much any ability that isn't a mana ability, they're going to take 2 damage. And the same with the Emoliating Shaman, but it's only 1 damage. But with our commander, that's 4 and 3 damage, just to punish them for using abilities. Then we've got the Fire Servant, which doubles up any damage from a red instant or sorcery. Pretty much all our burn and all our board wipe. Then we have the Ember Morhelion, which works similar to our commander, adds an extra damage to all our red sources. Same effect, we're just getting a little bit more power there. Hissing Quagmire, one of the most janky creatures, but it works well here. Whenever another creature dies, updated text of course, you may have the Hissing Quagmire deal 1 damage to the target player. If a creature dies, lightning bolt your opponent with your commander. Then we've got Electrostatic Field. Defender, it's a big butt, 0/4 for 2 mana, but when we cast instant sorcery, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, lightning bolt them in the face. And the most janky one here, Firebrand Archer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. We cast anything in the deck pretty much, we're going to start hitting them in the face for 3. And then Surkara, this is a cool one. Whenever instant sorcery we control deals damage to a player, we can exile top card and play it this turn. So burning our opponent gets us card advantage, but she can also tap to deal 1 damage to any target, or lightning bolt any target. Good value, card draw and bolt removal. And then some of the big end game boys here, Bogard and Hellkite. When it enters the battlefield, you can deal 5 damage as you choose divided, but with your commander, if you choose to put 1 damage onto everything, it becomes 3, so your 5 damage is turned into 15. And it's a similar theory with Infernal Titan, where if you want to splash out your 3 damage, you can turn it to actually 9 damage. Then we have a Tali, just here as a great card, brings us a random advantage off everyone's decks. Good fun card. Alright, like I said, bit of a Goblin sub-theme. Krenko obviously being the head of it, just tap double number of goblins in play, supported by CG Gang Commander who brings a big army with him, then you tap the Krenko. But here's the benefit of we can sacrifice a goblin to deal damage to anything, which with a commander will become 4 damage. And then you got Goblin Chainwaller, an absolute boss, enters the battlefield, deals the damage to each opponent, their creatures and their planeswalkers. With the commander out, he just hits everything for 3. And probably, I think, the best goblin in this deck, Goblin Sharpshooter. Doesn't untap during untap steps, unfortunately, but whenever a creature dies, you get to untap him, and you can tap him to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. He can pretty much keep opponent's boards in check. Just tap, deal 3 damage to something, dies, untaps him again, get something else. It's a great card in this deck. Good old Gutter Snipes, every time we cast instant sorcery, we're going to deal 4 damage to our opponents. And then we've got the little 1-mana defender here, the Spear Spewer. He will deal 1 damage to us, that's fine, but a clapback never hurt, but he'll deal 3 damage to each opponent. And a Planeswalker that works well with Torbran, is Chandra. She often has the pinging-like nature or dividing damage, and it works well with her theme. So obviously Chandra the Regulator is a must-have. If we activate any Chandra abilities, we can pay 1 to copy it, which if it's a burning effect, even more value for us. And it does have a bit of draw built in through discarding mountains. Chandra, Fire Kaladesh, she can only flip if you've dealt 3 damage to something pretty much. With your commander, you tap a ping for 1 damage, it actually does 3 damage, it's perfect, which flips into the Roaring Flame, which can do 4 damage to your opponents or their creatures, depending what you choose, with your commander out, of course. I love the Acolyte Flame, she acts like a support planeswalker, she can buff all the other Chandras out there, she can create tokens, which, again, the tokens will do extra damage with your commander, they're not 1/1s, they'll be 2/1s, and she lets us recast things from our graveyard, you really can't go wrong. Chandra the Flamecaller, the biggest one here, she starts putting out 2 3/1s, which are going to be 4/1s with her commander. She lets us reset our hand to draw extra cards, and she can deal damage to anything we need, X amount. Then we've got Chandra the Wake Inferno, prevent things from being countered, but I don't think her emblem effect works with her commander, because emblems don't have a color, I believe. So it has each emblem you put on them takes 1 damage each upkeep, but you can stack it, so it's not too bad here. But her neg 3, deal 3 damage to each non-elemental, 5 damage to the board, she can nuke it pretty much. So into burn. So Finale Promise is a big one, letting you cast instant and sorceries from your graveyard. If it X is 10 or more, you copy it twice. Big plays, that can often end games with that much burn with your commander out. Impact Resonance is a card that gets a lot of value from the damage already done through our commander. It deals X damage divided, so we can split it up and abuse it more with our commander. Among any number of target creatures where X is greatest damage dealt by a source to a permanent this turn. So if you just clap something for 5, deal 5 damage divided, turn it to 15 damage. It's a good way to really ramp up your effort there. We've got Insult and Injury here. Insult can win you games sometimes. It lets you double up damage. And then you've got Injury that lets you do 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage to the target player. So for 3 mana, you're going to deal 4 damage to them, 4 damage to their creature. Some big old board wipes here. Fire Confluence, you pick 3 or more, damage to each creature, 2 damage to each opponent, remember your commander's effect, 3 damage to each creature or 4 damage to each opponent. Pyroclasm, 2 mana, 4 damage to the board, can't go wrong. Anger of the Gods does 5 damage to everything. Electro Trickery does 3 damage to everything at 2 mana, instant speed. These have such good value thanks to our commander. Then we've got Lightning Bolt and Abrade, just good 3 damage sources when you need them, or 5 with the commander. Abrade does bring some artifact hate, which is nice. Flame Jab, but you may cast it from your graveyard by discarding a land and just paying its costs again. It's a recurring Lightning Bolt if we need it. And then we've got Art Lightning, which lets you divide 3 damage, and just, of course, commander's effect turns that 3 damage into 9 damage. Enjai's Molding Inferno is the same thing, but it can scale up if you want to put more mana into it. Quick bit of support, Mono Red, we don't do draw too well at all. We do it horribly. Mind's Eye lets us get advantage of our opponent's drawing. Wheel of Fate comes in handy, just a full hand reset never hurts. I do have shenanigans here, just a bit of artifact hate, and I love the dredge mechanic. I can keep recurring if we need it to. We run Risk Factor and Browbeat as our big take this damage or let us draw a ton of card kind of things, and Jumpstart is nice to have. Good old Faithless Looting, too good for Modern, but good enough for Commander. We got Magmatic Insight, discard a land, draw 2 cards, pretty good card. Of course, Protection is the name of the game. Our Commander is very important, so both our Booties and Darksteel Plate hopefully will keep him alive, and our other key creatures. Onto our Mana Rocks, nice and simple. Ruby Medallion makes everything cheaper. Run our simple Soul Ring, Thane Dynamo, and Gilded Lotus for quick mana. Commander Sphere gives us any color we need and a bit of draw later on. And Head Archive, same idea, draw later on when we need it. Lands, nice and simple. These are only 4 non-basics here. Valakut's a no-brainer here. We play our mountains after our 5th one, we just start lightning bolting things. But remember, land is colorless, doesn't work with our commander, but still, lightning bolts on a land, you can't go wrong. Shrine to Nyx, we're mono's red, our devotion will be pretty good. Arcane Lighthouse is a must-have, removing Hexproof and Shroud, we need to be able to target our opponent's stuff. And Terrain Generator, because the mono red curse is a thing, we'll probably have too many lands in our hand, so at least get them on the board and use them for something. And basics, 31 mountains, nice and simple, makes deck text quick and easy. So, what do you think about Torbran? I think Torbran is an amazing commander. Mono red commanders have that plague, that curse to them where they just struggle in some areas, or a lot of areas. A very different playstyle, makes the most janky red cards that only do trickle damage to quite competitive, genuine threats to deal with. It's kind of like a mono red tax playstyle nearly, I guess you could think of it. You can punish your opponent for doing anything really. Or if you want to go like the full pinioning build, all the 1/1s that can just tap to do 1 damage to anything, with him out, just start lightning bolt everything dead. Maybe call it, I don't know, Comet Storm deck. Have some fun with that. I think it's a great commander. As long as they're printing red cards, he's always going to have relevancy. I reckon he might become a number 1 mono red commander pretty quickly. He's really hot right now, Throne of Eldraine. Cool. So let me know your thoughts, guys. How would you like to build him? I do think the taxing build's more fun, a bit more spice, because you don't expect it from mono red. A little bit different. It's pretty cool. So let me know your thoughts, guys, and have a good one. Catch you later. Alrighty, it's that time of the video where I can do a bit of a shameless plug. So thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, please sub and like. It really does help the channel's analytics out a lot. Maybe consider joining me on my other social platforms, where you can talk about anything and everything Magic related. And special thank you to our patrons. They make the channel what it is. These guys are the building blocks for Mana Down Under. They support the channel in many ways. And if you'd be interested in supporting the channel, links are down below and at the end of the video. Thank you, guys.